When people hear the word Chernobyl, their minds jump to the obvious. Nuclear disaster, radiation poisoning, and a ghost town frozen in time. But there's a darker, buried chapter that no textbook talks about. One that wasn't shaped by reactors or fallout, but by men with guns, vanishing soldiers, and a Cold War on the brink of implosion. The year was 1986. The place? Pripyat, Ukraine, then part of the Soviet Union. At exactly 1:23 a.m. on April 26, reactor number 4 of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant exploded. The world would later be told it was the result of a failed safety test. But within hours of the blast, deep inside the Kremlin, a very different narrative was unfolding. Top military officials weren't just concerned about radiation. They were worried about something else, something much more dangerous than nuclear fallout. Satellite intelligence, intercepted radio chatter, and secret surveillance revealed the presence of foreign agents in the area. Not just spies, but infiltrators. Western operatives. NATO-trained, carrying equipment far too advanced to be mistaken for scientists or journalists. And they were inside the exclusion zone. That's when the Kremlin activated Wimpel Group, a shadowy elite unit operating under the KGB. Their objective wasn't rescue. It was control, silence, and if necessary, elimination. Orders were direct and chilling. Secure the perimeter. Retrieve sensitive materials. Neutralize unauthorized personnel. No questions asked. In the official records, the next 3 days were labeled as evacuation and containment efforts. But behind the scenes, a silent war broke out in the Red Forest. Local villagers spoke of gunfire at night, helicopters flying low, glimpses of massed soldiers dragging bodies into unmarked trucks. The Soviet press, of course, blamed it on radiation hallucinations. But military logs later revealed 2 Wimpel helicopters were shot down, both classified as lost due to technical failure, except that the black box data vanished, just like the pilots. The real question was, what were those foreign agents looking for? Turns out, Chernobyl wasn't just a nuclear plant. Less than 2 miles away, beneath the guise of an agricultural research station, was a secret military complex. Inside were high-frequency radar systems, early bioweapon prototypes, and Cold War relics that even most Soviet officials didn't know existed. Some of the weapons there weren't even on record. If that tech fell into foreign hands, it could expose Soviet war crimes, illegal arms research, and possibly trigger an international scandal worse than the Cuban Missile Crisis. By day 7 after the explosion, the zone was swarming with more than just radiation. Snipers were stationed on rooftops of abandoned apartment blocks. Drones, primitive but deadly, patrolled overhead. Anyone caught without clearance was detained, or disappeared. Then something even stranger happened. A Soviet colonel named Yuri Antonov, one of the last officials with unrestricted access to the underground labs, vanished without a trace. He didn't die in the blast. He wasn't on any evacuation list. Weeks later, the CIA received a cryptic message from an unknown source in Vienna. "I have Chernobyl's real story. I want out." The message was traced to Antonov. He'd fled with documents, blueprints, recordings, radiation mapping logs that suggested the meltdown wasn't just an accident, but possibly sabotage. Before any deal could be made, Antonov was found dead in a Vienna hotel. Cause of death? Poisoning, the kind used in KGB black ops. The message was clear. Some truths were just too radioactive to be exposed. Years passed. The Soviet Union collapsed. Files were destroyed. Witnesses silenced. But rumors, well, they persisted. In 1994, a Ukrainian special ops team raided an abandoned bunker near the exclusion zone. What they found shocked even them. Unburnt Soviet uniforms, Western passports, and encrypted hard drives. Drives that, when decrypted years later, contained hours of surveillance footage, grainy black and white clips showing soldiers engaged in combat near Reactor 3. Not with protesters, not with looters, but with other trained soldiers wearing American gear. Officially, none of this ever happened. Unofficially, it was known as the Battle of Chernobyl, a war with no declaration, no medals, and no survivors. But the consequences didn't stop there. Months after the meltdown, radioactive material started appearing on the black market. Plutonium traced back to Chernobyl's vaults. Experimental signal jammers surfaced in Eastern European weapons bazaars. Someone had smuggled them out, right under the military's nose. Or worse, with their help. Investigators believe at least 3 different intelligence agencies operated inside the exclusion zone in the months following the disaster. MI6, CIA, and even Mossad were rumored to have launched covert retrieval missions. But most evidence was erased, burned, buried, except for one thing. A classified video, leaked in 2011, showed a group of masked men, fully armed, navigating through the wreckage of Reactor 2. What they were looking for remains unknown. What they found? That's never been made public. But seconds before the tape cuts off, there's a moment. A figure steps into frame, wearing a modern Russian tactical vest, whispering something to the camera. It's still here. Today, Chernobyl is marketed as a dark tourism destination. Adventurers come for the thrill. Influencers post selfies in radioactive ruins. But locals still tell stories. Stories of strange figures walking at night, military trucks appearing and vanishing, surveillance drones flying where no tourists are allowed. And then there's the 2022 invasion of Ukraine. Russian troops seized Chernobyl within hours. Not Kyiv, not Lviv, Chernobyl. Why? Why prioritize a site with no tactical value? Unless it wasn't just about land. Unless there's something still buried in that cursed soil. Something worth killing for, again. You see, war doesn't always end with treaties. Sometimes it just changes form. It goes underground. It mutates, like the radiation that never truly leaves. Chernobyl was not just a nuclear accident. It was a battlefield, a covert war, a black site so contaminated by secrets that not even the truth could survive. And maybe, just maybe, that was always the plan. Because when governments lie, when soldiers vanish, and when history gets rewritten by the survivors, the only thing more dangerous than a meltdown is what they were trying to cover up. Welcome to the real story of Chernobyl, the war they never told you about, and the one that may still be going on, just out of sight. If this story shocked you, wait until you hear what they buried beneath the sands of the Middle East, or what's been secretly unfolding under Antarctica. Hit the like button if you made it this far, because that tells the algorithm you want more forbidden history they don't want you to see. Subscribe if you're ready to uncover the stories they swore you'd never find, and turn on the bell, because the next secret war is one they'll try to silence. But not if we get to it first. See you in the next one.